United Indonesia, the gap nobody notices. Say the words United Indonesia to an American, and here's what probably happens in the first 2 seconds of their brain. First, it sounds like an airline. United Airlines just added a new route, maybe. Second, if they follow soccer, is this some new football club like Manchester United, but based in Jakarta? And third, if they're paying closer attention to geopolitics. Wait, is this like the United States, a federation, states joining together? None of those guesses are wrong to have. They're just completely, almost comically, beside the point. Because to the 280 million people who actually live under that phrase, United Indonesia isn't a brand name, and it isn't a curiosity. It's closer to the single most loaded phrase in their national vocabulary. This is a video about that gap, the distance between how casually outsiders can toss around a phrase and how much weight the people who actually own it are carrying underneath it. Why this word carries so much weight. To understand why United is not a light word in Indonesia, you have to understand what the country actually is. Indonesia is over 17,000 islands. It has more than 700 living languages. It spans a landmass wider than the continental United States, stretched east to west. It contains Muslim-majority provinces, Christian-majority provinces, Hindu-majority Bali, animist traditions in Papua, and everything in between. On paper, there is no obvious reason this should be one country at all. That's exactly why, in 1928, young activists from across the archipelago gathered in Jakarta and swore what's now called the Youth Pledge: one nation, one homeland, one language, Indonesia. That pledge, decades before independence was even won, was a deliberate act of will. Nobody handed these people a unified nation. They talked themselves into building one, on purpose, against the odds. So when independence finally came in 1945, unity wasn't a slogan tacked onto the country afterward. It was the load-bearing wall the entire building was designed around. 3 reasons United is almost sacred here. First, the Dutch already tried to break this apart once, using exactly this word. After Indonesia declared independence, the Dutch spent years trying to hold onto the colony, and part of that strategy was propping up separate, Dutch-friendly local states, carving the archipelago into pieces that would be easier to control than one unified republic. In December 1949, under international pressure, sovereignty was formally transferred not to a single unitary Indonesia, but to something literally named the United States of Indonesia, a federal structure of 16 component states. It lasted less than a year. By August 1950, Indonesians had dissolved it and folded it back into a single, unitary republic on purpose. Even now, federalism carries a faint echo of that colonial divide-and-rule playbook. So when English speakers casually say united, as in a federation of states, they are, without knowing it, brushing against the exact historical scar Indonesia spent 1950 stitching shut. Second, unity here isn't an abstraction. It's something children are tested on. Asterisk asterisk the national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, Old Javanese for unity in diversity, sits on the national emblem, gets taught in every school curriculum, and gets repeated at nearly every civic occasion. It is less like America's e pluribus unum, which most Americans could probably not translate on the spot, and more like a value that gets actively reinforced generation after generation, precisely because the alternative, genuine fragmentation, has never stopped being a real possibility. Third, unity has had to be defended, not just celebrated. Asterisk asterisk this isn't theoretical. Aceh fought a decades-long separatist insurgency before a 2005 peace agreement. East Timor voted for independence in 1999 and became its own country. Papua has an active, ongoing separatist movement to this day. Every time Indonesians say united, there's a quiet awareness sitting behind it that this is not guaranteed, that it has been, and still is, actively contested at the edges of the map. Put those 3 together, and you get a country where united isn't decoration. It's closer to a word you'd use about something you nearly lost. The mirror. What if someone did this to you? Here's a way to feel the gap instead of just hearing about it. Imagine a country you've never given much thought to takes the phrase, the Union, as in, the actual language used around the American Civil War, a war that genuinely almost tore this country in two, and starts using it as the name of a budget airline or a casual sports bar chain. Not maliciously, just casually, the way you'd name anything catchy sounding. Most Americans would find that mildly funny, maybe a little tone-deaf, but probably wouldn't feel it as a wound, because the Union holding is now 160 years settled and doesn't sit anywhere near the surface of daily American identity anymore. For Indonesia, the equivalent isn't 160 years settled. separatist tension in Papua is a live news story this year. The word united is doing active work right now, holding something together that a meaningful number of people still openly question. That's the actual distance between the American reflex, oh, like the airline, and the Indonesian reality. Oh, you mean the thing we're not allowed to fail at? Why this actually matters going forward? This isn't just a linguistic curiosity, because Indonesia is not staying in the background of the world stage. It's the fourth most populous country on Earth. It's a G20 economy, sitting on the largest known nickel reserves in the world, the exact mineral at the center of the global EV battery supply chain. It's building a brand new capital city, Nusantara, on Borneo, explicitly as a symbol of a more balanced, more genuinely unified nation, moving the center of gravity away from Java. The world is going to be saying the word Indonesia a lot more in the next decade, in boardrooms and trade negotiations, not just travel brochures. Which means more foreign executives, diplomats, and yes, YouTube commentators are going to reach for the phrase United Indonesia without doing the homework this video just did. And every time that happens, there's a quiet mismatch in the room. One side treating it as a catchy modifier, the other side hearing the exact phrase their grandparents fought, argued, and in some cases died to make real. None of this means outsiders need to walk on eggshells around the word. It means something simpler, knowing what you're actually saying before you say it. United Indonesia was never a brand. It was a bet, made by people in 1928 who had no guarantee it would work, defended by people in 1950 who tore up a Dutch-designed federation to prove it, and still being defended today, quietly, at the edges of a country most outsiders have only ever seen on a map. Same phrase, completely different emotional planet, depending on which side of the ocean you're standing on. That's exactly the kind of gap this series exists to close. End.